right, everyone. Welcome to the semifinals for Group B, Vicinal versus Hysteric. I'm your host today. It's Bubble Tea, but since we're such good friends, you can call me Tea. And I am here with my very good friend, Outcast Andrew, and we are off to a explosive start to this match. How are you feeling today, Andrew?
I'm doing fantastic, T. I'm super excited to be casting this Vicinal versus Hysteric. We got Vamp on the Dredge first, who found a very, very quick chase there on Jake, but then kind of got out of dodge. So much happened in such a short time. We did see a totem go down. There was a couple totems on the map, so one is gone, and we're chasing our Claudette here. Don't think we're quite going to get that first hit yet. Yeah, these are two really, really great teams, so I'm looking forward to a really good match. What's your thought of Dredge on Hawkins? This is a very spicy map for our stealthy killer.
A nice hit on the Claude. Gonna get a little bit of distance off of that. Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of Dredge on Hawkins this season, and it's very interesting to see. Sometimes it goes incredibly killer favored, and sometimes it's very survivor favored. There's a lot of places to hide. There's a lot of pallets to work with. So it's always a good game. I'm excited to be seeing it again today. And I'm excited about these two teams going head to head. Two of our favorites here. Vamp, not quite able to secure that hit, but our first gen is going down. Claudette managing to buy a lot of time for her team to get things done in the background.
That was a really spicy attempted mind game. Like, it was like held the remnant, went all the way around the corner, teleported back to the remnant, and tried to get a spicy hit on Claudette here. Yeah, I agree with what you said about this is a very swingy match in either direction. I think we're gonna get the down here though. Yep. So we are going to see our first down here after one gen's popped. I think the survivors were kind of spending time getting out into the map while this was going on, and tackling gens obviously takes a minute. We didn't see corrupt intervention, so all of the gens were possible. But again, you kind of can't just jump on gens till you have real eyes on the killer. We are going to see a basement hook come in, so survivors are going to have a little bit a harder time unhooking, and particularly getting the survivor out of the basement. We had a lingering Jake here waiting for the unhook and got spotted. I think we got two closed doors back here. I think you could just leave your remnant. Oh, they did. Oh, and great dredge play. That was great.
Yeah, that was a great prediction, Andrew, as well. Getting a slap and coming over to this, opting to stay on the gen. They know that Ruin is in play, regressing every time they get off. So Jake saying, you know what? Forget about that heal. Let's try and get this gen done. We do see survivors locking lockers, which sometimes can be the big difference between Dredge winning and losing these games, is how many lockers are the survivors locking? Are they locking them at all? That and pallet breaks. How are we opting when to and when to not break pallets? Sometimes people play on this map and they don't break any pallets and the chases just go on forever. And they're never really able to get purchased. So.
Ooh. I gotta tell you, one thing that's really hard to judge in Hawkins 2 is, and we saw it working against the survivors there, and it worked against the killer here, the doors randomly open and close. This door here, this chase would be very deadly. We're catching up now. We would have been on top of Claudette immediately if that door had been open, but it was closed. The randomness of Hawkins adds an extra layer of, like, you almost have to, like, scout the map as you're going around, both as survivor and killer. We are going to break that pallet. This pallet here is essentially a god pallet.
Yeah, and in the meantime, during this Claude chase, we did see two more generators go down. I was going to say, up until that point, Vamp was doing an excellent job of keeping pressure, keeping survivors off of those gens. But two going down, that's going to be hard for Vamp. Needs to get this Claudette down and out of the game, frankly. Claude, who will have no doubt just seen that totem and called it out to her teammates. Vamp's in a little bit of a tough spot here.
Oh, I wouldn't have doubled back there. Okay. No, I think you can fall into these pallets are so weird because not a lot of them are strong. A lot of them are mid pallets. So killers can find themselves in a position of over mind gaming them sometimes. Sometimes the best thing for a survivor to do is just press W and move on. We do see the second down, though. Vamp managed to get that down, and I don't think there's a whole lot of gen progress to speak of because the two gens that popped right afterwards, the survivors healed, Ruin's still up. So the gens would have popped, the survivors healed up, and now we're kind of probably back to square one on the remaining 4 generators on the map right now.
Yeah, but it seems like Vamp has a pretty decent idea of where the survivors were just now. I think they spotted at least two of them, and they do come in on that reset, so Jake is not going to get healed here. Jake in a little bit of a precarious position. If they can get a second person on Hook, that would be excellent pressure for Vamp. But I was going to say, opting to go back to Hook to check, but maybe not.
Well, here's the other thing. If you can find Boofy right now, rotating for this save, and we don't see scratch marks, if you can find Boofy, our only healthy survivor, okay, they did end up healing Jake. Jake's Sloppy Butcher had worn off, I guess. But yeah, if you can find the rotation with the only healthy survivor, the survivor on Hook is dead, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mind you, we did find it, but we're doing a little body block here. Is the timing? Oh, it wasn't quite right. There's not a lot that you couldn't really prevent that unhook, but holy goodness, Vamp did a really good job of like heads up, knowing where their survivors are going to be, and it really worked out. We should mention on the second hook there, Lux did have a pain res. I don't know how much value came out of it though, and Ruin is still up, so still plenty of gen regression available for our killer here. We're coming in to take a hit, and it looks like Lara's going to go down. That's going to keep Lux alive a little longer, but also now you got a survivor that's got to get picked up.
Yeah, and it seems like Vamp is saying, you know what, Lux, you can just lay there for a minute. I'm pretty focused on getting this Claude out of the game. They want that 1v3 to start sooner rather than later.
Bloodlust
and I don't know that Claude has a lot to work. Oh, nope, they still have a pallet here, and they do get that
for it, though.
slap. Oh. Nice stun by the Claude. We did see those firecrackers go down as well, so those are no longer available. Doing a great job of buying time over here.
And that's going to be it. Okay, so here's the good for the killer. We got a kill and another dead survivor on the ground here. Here's the bad. A lot of time, and the one gen pops on the other side. Okay, so we do see the Lara get picked up here. I'm wondering how much gen progress is left because there's only one gen left. So both teams are kind of like this game is hanging right on the edge of who's going to come out on top. And look, there's no survivors on gen. So yeah, okay, so we are now on the 3v1 with a full gen left with Ruin still up. Although, like you said, and I agree, definitely the survivors know where Ruin is, and I think you're probably going to see them make an effort to get rid of it in the near future. That would have been that is a pain res hook, and it did pop the pain res. So I wonder how much progress actually was lost there, if any. You know, how much progress was available. There was some. So
yeah, absolutely. I do think they could make an effort to go for that totem. However, with only 3 people left, it would be incredibly beneficial for them, but they've got a lot to do. They've got to get some progress going on a generator somewhere, and they've got to get this Lara off Hook, unless they opt to let her hang, for the full 60 before they come and get her. But it looks like they are going to be working on the lab gen, and presumably Jake, lying in wait, hoping to come in for a rescue here.
As long as Jake doesn't get found, you can kind of like you're putting this on the killer. The killer knows if you stand and face camp Lara, it's a 6-hook game probably, right? We've already identified all 4 perks. We know for a fact that we're not dealing with a no-ed situation. If you just camp that hook, you're resigning yourself to a pretty mediocre result. So I think what you're gonna see, all Jake's got to do is hang out while Ace cranks the gen, and as soon as the killer goes and realizes, look, I got to get out of here, then the unhook can come in for mostly free. Does secure second stage though.
Lara going to second stage. Taking that time though to try and get this, as much progress on this generator as they can. Honestly, that might be the move here. I don't know.
Well, this is such okay. So I like that. Good, smart move, smart remnant play. I was gonna say I like that the survivors left this generator. I mean, it's pretty common. Like it's not abnormal for smart survivors to do that. But leaving that generator is a pretty safe gen to work on. There's no lockers nearby, and it gives you plenty of warning the killer's coming. Although again, Vamp, fantastic, great swing through the pallet there too. Vamp had a fantastic remnant play that prevented the drop down escape when they started going up the stairs there. We do see another tag on Ron, the Lara player, and the Lara player is on death hook. So that's scary. And again, I think we're waiting for power here, and because it's nightfall, Power comes back almost instantly. And now we do the I mean, you can't. Oh, I see what happened there. Replace the remnant. And I think you're pretty much dead. As soon as you drop, you're dead, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Really nicely done by Vamp, backing
And
Ace
Hook.
into a bit of a corner here. And they are, I think this is first hook for Ace. Am I right
It
on
is,
that?
but we're hooking right on top of all of the gen progress. So we're back in the same position we were a few minutes ago with Ron on with the Lara on hook, except now we're starting from scratch with gen progress again. So this is really starting to work in Vamp's favor.
Yeah, that was definitely a strong hook placement for Vamp. Able to have a lot of pressure here. Still going to be going for the Lara, though. Meanwhile, the question is, if you're Jake, are you rotating in for that save, or are you trying to get any gen progress going?
I think it might be crazy.
You have to go for the save.
I think you have to go for the save, or you're resigning yourself to, if the killer does the right thing, you lose, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was wondering, the one move that I was wondering what would happen. This is all fantasy now; it didn't happen, but there is a world where you leave the Ace on hook, and I think that the Jake just grabbed the remnant, so we couldn't use it. But you leave the Jake on. I'm sorry, you leave the Ace on hook, and you actually just crank that gen. But the gen didn't have near enough progress to make a play like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ace going back on this hook here. Yeah, Vamp in a pretty good position.
This is the scary thing about Dredge. Like, oh, look at the great gen split. And don't get me wrong, it's important, right? Because it would be so much harder if you didn't have this great gen split. But it doesn't matter as much for a killer like Dredge, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not like oh, he's gonna walk all the Dredge. I guess I don't know the Dredge has to walk all the way down the other. No, they just teleport. They're down there instantly, and we're back pressuring the lab gen. We do see 4 of the people come through on our Ace. So Ace is dead on hook, but Jake took a health state for them. But Lara's dead on hook too and injured. So I mean, and you can't double that gen. Right, so Vamp knows, okay, they're cranking that gen again, but it's not like they're doubling it up and you've only got about 30 seconds. No, you've got about there's probably another minute left on that generator, I would say. So, I think we have time to down. Okay, but we're gonna take a hit with the dead on hook, and I think that's enough for Vamp to go. Okay, I gotta go back.
Yeah, absolutely. Lara did a great job running there, buying a lot of time for Jake on this gen. Ace coming in with that last second hit. But Vamp knows that Jake is also injured now because of that for the people. So everyone is injured unless they can get a reset. This is going to be a really dangerous position for them. And Survivor's just kind of happy to stall for time over here, presumably while they're trying to get that reset.
That flashlight play worked! That flashlight! Oh my god! I was about to say we're in the same position we were a few minutes ago with Ace stuck on the drop down, but that actually worked. That it blinded you enough that you had to turn away. That then Jake could instantly drop off and get away. But yeah, so Vamp has decided. All right, you know what, Jake, you can work on this generator alone. I'm gonna go get the two dead survivors. That was such a great play, though. I really liked that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, back on the Lara here. Lara's still having some resources to work with.
You know what's scary?
Opting to switch to the Ace because Ace is on this generator over here, so they don't want to leave them for too long. That's presumably why he teleported over here, is because he knew that there is a gen that they could be doubling up on.
This is a bait. Lara is baiting. Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait.
No, you gotta go back to the other gen.
Oh, you took the bait! Now I hope it works out for the survivors. Oh, it's gonna be close.
It is gonna be close.
They picked! They dropped. Okay. It's enough, though. I think that's enough. I don't think you get up in your time. I think we 4K0.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got it.
Vamp, it's like Vamp picked up and then went, oh no, the gen. That's a 4K0. Wow. Okay. Really great play by Vamp, but that is a win. That is an endgame win for the survivors, because that was definitely a 4K1 possibility, and they managed to. That I love Laura for that. I love my killer main brain goes, nah, I know what you're doing. But sometimes when you're in the heat of battle, you don't, you smell blood and you go in for the kill, and the survivors get the last gen done. Well played, great game on both sides. That game looked like it was on the survivor side. Wow, these hooks are really close together. That looked like it was on the survivor side for a lot of the game, and then once it got to the 3v1, Vamp really locked in and had some really great remnant play and manages to get down the 4K. But 4K 0 is it's beatable on both sides. I think it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. They've definitely Hysteric definitely set up their killer for a good position going into this next round here, but Vamp did an incredibly good job. Like you said, they kind of found their groove partway through the match and they were able to get a lot of good pressure, but Survivor is just coming out with a couple of little tricks that really made the difference. That Lara MVP for sure. All right, everyone, welcome back to Champions of the Fog. Hysteric v Vicinal, this time Boofy on killer for Hysteric and Vicinal surviving. Oh, unlucky for Boofy.
That was a quick find.
Wow, finding that Gloatum right off the rip.
But a quick M1, a little quicker than last time too. We found a chase this fast, but they saw the killer coming. This time Ada had that I know you're nearby, I don't know what direction you're coming from, and looked left while the killer was coming from the right. Just unlucky for the Ada, but so we're seeing a very quick chase come in. Wait. Oh no, okay. I was gonna say, wasn't the Ada the one on the totem?
That's what I thought.
Right? But I guess did they fall? I don't know what happened there. That's
I don't
weird.
think so. My guess is they knew someone else was up there and opted to take chase, maybe, or something to that effect. Or I don't think they would have just gotten.
I don't know. That's wild. I'm gonna have to walk. I'm gonna have to watch it back later and figure out what the heck happened. But very, very fast down on our Ada, and also a pain res. So any of that initial gen progress is going to be a little delayed. We are looking at basically the same. All the at this point, all of the perks have already been revealed to the survivors. So it's the exact same build. Ruin is still active. Undying is gone. Pain res has come through, and Sloppy Butcher. So. It's a pretty standard build.
Yeah, this does seem to be the build that the Dredges have favored this season. Definitely that Sloppy Butcher Ruin combo causing a lot of issues. And of course, Pain Res is kind of just base kit for comp killers at this point. Just a great perk, to keep gem progress in check. Ace coming in for that rotation to get our Ada off hook, but not quite able to do so. And Boofy staying fairly close to hook here, but that solo gen up top on the second floor, really close to being finished. They actually have some good gen progress on a few gens going right now.
And they need it too, because at this point you've had such an early, we've got 2 hook states at this point. 2 hook states for 0 gens. Obviously one's about to pop, but we really, really got to, as survivors, we really got to get some gen progress. Because we're looking at a pretty quick tunnel out at this point. And remember, we had 2 gens left at the tunnel out and got down to 1 gen really, really quickly on the 3v1. And we're maybe, hopefully Slasher can take the killer for a pretty good chase here. Looks like Ace might come in and take it down for them, or maybe just try to distract some scratch marks. But yeah, if Ada goes down really quickly here, and we're in Nightfall, so power, the killer power is enhanced. We're looking at a situation where the survivors are gonna have a really hard time playing 3v1 with 4 gens left.
That was really great communication by the Ada and Ace. Ace just able to sneak in and take a quick hit for Ada, buying her life a little more time, but I think Ada is not long for this world. We did see our first generator, second generator go. Everyone coming in, trying to keep this Ada up as long as they can, doing a great job.
I think Vamp had come in there. Oh no, and again, you know Dredge is nearby, but you can't see where they're coming from, and Slasher just takes a step in the wrong direction for 1 second, and it's enough to give Boofy a chance to down them, and we're going to be getting into our 3v1 with 3 gens left. I think that I think that Vamp here, I think our Renato here was hanging out for either a pallet or a flashlight play, but unfortunately got spotted. It's so hard to hide from the Dredge in Nightfall because you're a glowing nightlight. Like, you're just glowing bright white, and it's so easy to get spotted. So we're going to see what the survivors can do in the 3v1 at this point. Very interesting. Put down the Remnant. Looked like they were going to chase the Tory, but instead teleports over, and we're going to see it. Okay, maybe not. I thought we were going to see a down. Little troubleshooter here going on, and then... Oh! Okay. Good dodge, but unfortunately that's a corner, so...
Yeah, a little unfortunate for Arnado over there, but did manage to take a little bit of a chase. Ace trying to get some pressure on that lab gen. This is going to be a much harder game now for Vicinal. Now that they've got their Ava out so early and they have 3 gens to go, only 1 seemingly with some amount of progress. I think Vicinal is in a little bit of trouble here.
And Ruin is still up. Again, it's so rough. Like, Dredge is so, again, very scary. You could be working on this totem. First of all, I don't think the survivors know where the totem is. But you could be working on the Ruin totem and suddenly Dredge teleports over and fight. They were on the totem!
Oh my gosh, you predicted that. Andrew.
Oh yeah, I knew that was gonna happen, and that's why I said that, by the way. I knew what was going on. We're gonna 1 for 1, and I think we're gonna slug and keep going. But yeah, like, again, you can't safely work on a totem, even if the killer's opposite side of the map, because it could be where they go next, right? So, wow, yeah. And if we see Vamp go down here, I mean, you gotta imagine our Ace can't even really do a lot of gen progress right now, unless they're close to completing one, because if they complete it and Renato goes down here, well, great. Now you just told me where you are, and now we're going to 4K2. So we have to go pick up the Tory.
This is really, really rough. Boofy managing to put some crazy pressure on survivors here. Ace rotating in. Looks like he's going to hang out here and maybe go for the unhook rather than picking up.
That was interesting because Ace probably could have got the pallet save there. But if you do that, we're gonna get enough for the people on the death hook Renato there. If you do the pallet save, and if you miss, but more even if you don't, the killer knows exactly where you both are, and if you injure the Ace, you're in trouble because you can't hide anymore. You're gonna be moaning and groaning. Although actually Ace does have Iron Will, so big maybes there. But anyways.
Yeah, that unhook is going to come through. Boofy on their way back, though. And now we're in a bit of a pickle. It's that same pickle that you get into when you've only got 3 survivors in, which is who's going to do what. Nobody is on a gen because no one can be on a gen. Right. Everyone is injured. Dredge seemingly has a very good idea of where all of the survivors are. I mean, it's pretty dire right now for Vicinal. I'm not sure how they get out of this.
We got a good loop going on here, but like Bloodlust's kicking in. It's not going to last forever, right?
Yeah.
And there, yeah.
And there it is.
That's going to be a 2v1 with 3 gens left. This is looking like a pretty... I'm pretty confident in saying Hysteric is going to come out on top of this one. Obviously, never say never. But, yeah, 3 gens left for a tie. With 2 injured survivors on the map. I'm going to say this kind of got away from them. I think the real difference maker was that unfortunate catching Slasher again right at the beginning. As I said, Slasher looking left and Dredge comes from right. It's so hard when you don't even know which direction the killer started in. You know, like, you know that they teleported down to that end of the map. You don't know exactly if they're coming from the left or the right, and then you're just, you're trying to keep an eye on both directions and get snatched up there.
Just faking every vault here. And Boofy was falling for it pretty consistently, so...
Some really good plays by the survivors, by the way. Like, they're leaving loops. They're trying to tie pallets together. Like, we've seen some really good play on both sides here. It's just, again... That early, we see blood, yeah. That early down and then not being able to get the unhook before struggle and going to 3v1 with 3 gens left. It's a tall order for our survivors to play through, right?
Yeah, but it also just kind of illustrates the point that DBD is a pretty nuanced game in some ways, and having a bad start like that can in fact mean that the whole match is just kind of screwed.
For sure. Like, look at this chase. Look at that chase. If you do that at the beginning, this is a totally different game. Like, exactly what you're saying. This chase at the very beginning of the match, and, survivors could get outs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it was just so unfortunate. that that they got found right off the rip. The bigger issues, they just weren't able to come in for that unhook, getting spotted pretty instantly on that. You know, but they did manage to get an additional gen done, which is good. But yeah, Hysteric ultimately coming out on top here with really strong survivor gameplay and very dominating killer gameplay as well.
Can I tell you something that I actually really like in situations like this? I'm really glad it was a definitive win. Because if it had been a 4K1.
All right, everyone, welcome back to this exciting matchup, Vicinal v Hysteric. Once again, we have Hysteric on Killer, Boofy going to be piloting our plague here on Suffocation Pit. And we were just talking during the break about how we think this matchup is going to go. And while Hysteric had a very definitive first win, never count out Vicinal. They are a very strong team. We've seen them come back from some crazy odds. And in general, their survivor gameplay is very strong. So I'm super excited to see the second half of this match. Plus, I don't usually get to see Plague games. So how are you feeling about that, Andrew?
I've got mixed feelings about Plague. I used to play a lot of Plague, but the slowness of the droplets travel can be a little bit frustrating at times. But I mean, these are the best of the best. So we are going to see some vomit spray. It's so gross. Sorry, coming through on Bronzy there. The first thing I noticed about this match though is it is a strong 4-3 split. Suffocation Pit is such an interesting map. So the survivors are going to want to get down the main building side of the map and get some of these generators done. There are four gens firmly past the midway point. It's it's not the 3-1-3 where there's one mid gen. The mid gen is well on the side of main. So Boofy's got a pretty strong 4-gen setup here. The survivors are going to want to take chases down by Shaq in order to give the teammates a chance to get those gens done.
Yeah, absolutely. But my guess is Boofy is going to be on to that as well. Yeah, opting not even to go down on that side yet, to just spend some time over here. Around, assuming there's somebody going to be here, maybe on this back gen.
Okay, it's really interesting as far as the build goes. You can see eruptions down on that gen. That gen went down to 0. But, I'm sure this. Well, okay. I don't want to give it. Well, no. I'm sure the survivors would have noticed when Boofy kicked that they lost terror radius until it ticked down to 0. We have a potential stealth Plague game coming in here. Wow, this gen's really close to the mid too. I didn't realize how close this is. It's a 2-1-4. There's no real deep gens. Like, this is the deepest gen, and it's not even like that deep in the corner or anything like that. That is wild. Okay, this is a very strong setup for our killer. We see 2 survivors are fully infected now. One of them being our, this is Vamp here on this hill. Might be, yeah, we see some Ballast Line to come in. The survivors are probably cranking up gens on that side. I imagine we're going to see Boofy kind of take this chase. Oh, sorry, this is Bronzy. This is Artari. I think we're probably going, oh, both of the injured survivors are down this end of the map. Maybe that's bait? Maybe that's,
I think so.
Yeah, stay down this side, right? Yeah, maybe.
I absolutely think that's bait. They're like, we're both broken. You definitely want to be over here, right? And at that point,
sorry, go ahead.
As Boofy, are you going to take that bait, or are you going to keep pressuring the other half of the map, which is what I think their instincts are telling them to do.
I think the other thing too is that you don't make that hook. Yeah. You don't make that hook.
You don't make any hook.
Well, this is going to be very close. The other thing is you want to get a hook up. Yeah, okay, barely made it. You want to get a hook up the other side of the map so you can guard the hook and the generators. And Boofy, you know what? I got to give Boofy credit there. That is insanely smart. So many times you can find yourself in that situation where it's like, I need to go for that hook. Oh no, I'm not going to make that hook. Now what do I do? And Boofy took the absolute maximum amount of time to make the decision and then managed to make a closer hook before dropping the survivor and losing all that pressure. So really heads up play by Boofy. I'm really loving the play we're seeing from Boofy on all the killers today. We did see Trail of Torment come through again on this generator, but it went away just as quickly because the survivors did stop the regression. Pain Res did come through, so I'm thinking it hit this generator. That gen is cranking away. I think it probably hit this generator here. So that gen must have been really close to getting done before the hook came in. Anyways.
Yeah, we did just see that first gen go down on that half of the map. Kind of just content to patrol around this hook a little bit. Already we were seeing some of those regression events on that one gen that had a lot of progress. So Goofy can be keenly aware of that.
Iframes though doesn't get the hit. Vamp did not take deep wounds there on that. That was so fortunate for the survivors. And okay, we did hit. Wait. Oh, I guess. Wow, borrow time must have just run out. And I think, okay, interesting. Boofy lost the one gen up the one side of the map, and I think Boofy is now opting to hold the middle gen and take the shack side gens, and I think that's the right move, seeing as 2 gens popped in the 4 gen. God, so many options for the killer in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Survivors, in the meantime, definitely taking advantage of the time they have to get a bunch of progress going on gens. As you said, 2 gens have gone down here. How are you feeling about odds for both teams?
Okay, so we're in a really key point right now. All the survivors are injured, are fully infected, and we have power here. I think that we're going to see Boofy camp this out. I don't think you're going to see another gen pop. We're going to have to go check this one over here, make sure there's no progress, but I don't think there is. You're not going to see another gen pop. So, oh my goodness, hiding.
I was going to say, were we just hiding behind the rock?
Yeah, because we're stealthed right now because of Trail of Torment. So the survivors don't have a terror radius. Anyways, it's looking likely. Oh, someone is coming in for the unhook, but will they get hit? Will they get through? Uses a little bit of spray there to push back the survivor. Yeah, 3v1 with 3 gens left in a tight 3 gen. I'm seeing 4K territory, but that's my prediction. I don't know. How do you feel? Oh, but they might crank that gen. Oh, that's a different gen. Sorry.
Oh my, yeah.
No.
Holy.
Yeah.
We have a ton of progress on 2 different gens right now. Both of them are about to pop. Survivors taking well advantage of the fact that Boofy was not actively in chase. Both of those gens popping at the same time.
Chase. Yeah.
Survivors have a shot at this.
They split the 3 gens super well too.
Yeah, they did.
They have a middle gen. They have the gen, basically where where Vamp died, the corner where Vamp died there, sort of like next to Shack. That gen there, in the corner, and then we have 1 gen way up here, and then a middle gen. Obviously, you won't be tackling the middle gen probably, but there's a lot of resources left on the map too. Lots of pallets, lots of really strong areas. So, and we're gonna get maybe a free unhook. Can we tank the hit here? Yeah, we're gonna get free unhook. This is anyone's game, T.
Yeah, absolutely. I think survivors definitely have a chance here to make something happen and get this last gen done, and that would be big for them. Goofy, who had all of the pressure at the beginning, I think kind of lost a little bit in this last phase where they were pretty content to just hang around on hook and to take that Trail of Torment, but weren't able to really do anything with it. So I think survivors have a shot at getting their last gen done for sure. But Boofy's a really experienced killer, so I'm not sure. This feels like it could go either way.
So it's worth mentioning the add-ons we had were both apples. So basically, as Plague, you start with 1 corrupted pool for your red puke. You also have 2 additional, 1 for each of those add-ons. They're all gone now. So the survivors are facing a perpetual injury. Like they're permanently injured unless they decide to cleanse, but until they decide to cleanse, the killer does not have power. It's an M1 killer with no power. So this is going to come down to how strong your 1v1 skills are. And Bronzy's doing a really good job here. You can see on the HUD there, the other 2 survivors are cranking the other gen. About 50% done now at this point, just a little bit over, and they're going to have to leave now because Boofy knows.
Yeah, I think Boofy is well aware that there were 2 survivors on this generator, opting to leave that Tari to their own devices and instead to pursue the Ada. But again, like you said, no more corrupt pools. So they've got to get a good M1, which means, like you said, this kind of just comes down to how well these survivors can run Boofy as long as they can.
Oh, good play. Slasher's having some really good time with this God Palette, but Bloodlust is kicking in, and it is gonna actually get through there. It's unfortunate that that pallet is pretty safe, but like one wrong move and you're gonna end up going down. Really good time waster on Slasher though, so we're getting gen progress on the opposite side of the map. So you probably got Ace hanging out down this end of the map, down where they were working on that generator, waiting for this unhook. But we can't hang out here. Boofy's gotta go. Boofy knows that end of the other end of the map is getting worked on right now, and the survivors will comment. Oh, but double back. Boofy doubles back, trying to find the Ace out. This is very, very tight. Like, this situation is very strong. Bronzy's about 60%, 70% done that generator, and we do find our Ace. So now, what's going to happen?
I don't know, but someone's going to die.
Oh, for sure. 3 outs I don't see. Outs, maybe? Maybe outs?
I wouldn't hang my hat on that, to be honest.
I
think that Vicinal's in a good position to get this last gen done for sure. I think Tori's definitely going to get it, especially if Ace can keep up this chase here. Yeah, they've got that. But yeah. I don't foresee outs.
Well, now I don't. I mean, I didn't know how that chase was going to go.
Actually,
it's not impossible, but
it's not impossible, but it's not likely.
Okay, so what's the play? But Slasher's dead. Slasher's dead on hook right now, so all you can do is maybe pick up Ace. We get balance landing, heading up the other way. And, okay, so Boofy grabbed the power, which puts Boofy in a strong position, but we know that delayed the chase, so we will probably get the pickup here. Now, the question is Boofy going to be able to shoot some mortar spit? Doesn't hit. Okay. So now what happens?
Well, now we're
going
after
after
the races.
Ace? Yeah, to the races.
Oh,
that didn't even look like a hit.
No, that's wild. That was a wild hit. I was gonna say if Ace can keep up the chase a little bit, Tori might be able to get a door and get out. But
if Ace had got around that corner, which obviously is why they got hit, right? If Ace had got around that corner, I think we see outs. But unfortunately, Ace goes down, and I don't see Tori, who is now coughing, spitting with no way to cleanse, and is going to be injured shortly. Yeah, I don't see any way out of this. I think this is going to be 4K0 territory. Yeah, what an interesting match, though.
I believe is exhausted as well from using their balance still, so...
No real way out of there. Power is out, so now we're M1 killing. But also, there's almost... Well, okay, I mean, like, this is... How long of a 1v1 can you put on? Shack pallet's still up, but then you're zoned once you throw it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I love watching a good 1v1. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what we're doing right now is, we're down here at Shack. We're doing a 1v1. We're going to see how long Tari can last. But the odds that Tari can get away, get all the way back across the map, pick up Ace, and then get a door open are fairly slim, but doing an excellent job running nonetheless. Going to be making their way downtown, trying to see if they can get something to happen. They do have a pallet here to work with.
Good old Ormond tile here. I got to tell you, Bronzy's had some really good chases. Bronzy's had some really, clearly knows the check spots. Oh, but the swing through. This pallet is again, one wrong step and you're caught. So, yeah. And I got to tell you, it was interesting. Boofy in the last match, in the Dredge match, was tons of mind games, constant double backs and going for interesting moves. Maybe Tori thought that's what was going to happen there because nope, Boofy full sent it and just smacked around the corner and got the hit. So I like when killers change up their play. I enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely. But a really good showing by Vicinal. Early, I would say about halfway through that match, we were pretty sure that we were going to see a 4K at 4 gens or something. It was going to be pretty rough, but Survivor's managing to pull it back. We're seeing a 4K at 0 gens. That is not an impossible ask. They've put their killer in a much better position. I don't know. I'm excited to see the next matchup.
If you can hold that, again, Suffocation Pit is so interesting. If they crack the gens like you saw this time, you had literally polar opposite sides, top, left, bottom, right, however you want to look at it. If you can hold down a 3-gen on Suffocation Pit, I mean, the Survivors, obviously, their move is trying, run and die the other side of the map. But if they can't do that, this is very holdable. So 4K1, Plague doesn't always get 4Ks, but 4K1 is not, as a win condition, is not impossible for the killer of Vicinal. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens here. We're just kind of waiting out the hook states here.
Yeah, I believe survivors do now have the option to attempt to get off hook to speed up end game as long as they stay under hook if they do escape. But it looks like we're not going to be seeing that. So you guys are just going to get 20 seconds of us vamping and bantering, which honestly is what the people are here for anyway, Andrew.
Oh, yeah, you and me. Look at that dead zone, by the way. Do you see that dead zone? Disgusting. Disgusting. RNG, clearly Hysteric is paid off behavior. I can't believe you'd see this in a professional Dead by Daylight match. Okay.
No, absolutely.
But I'm so excited to see what Vicinal can do. Again, I don't know who's gonna be killing for them, but Vamp had a really good showing, even though they wound up not winning that last match.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to what could be the conclusion of this matchup: Vicinal v Hysteric. This time we have Vicinal killing Vamp on Plague, set up for a pretty good game. In terms of Vicinal's side, we could be looking at going into a third set, which I would be excited to see. How are you feeling about this, Andrew?
I can't help. Every time I load into Suffocation Pit, I always look at the gens here. This is interesting. So we've got a similar setup to last time where it's like a 2 down by Shack, 1 in the middle, and 4 down by main. So on the one hand, it's really nice to see that RNG isn't going to play too much effect, obviously any more than it normally does, because the generators are fairly similar. But the gens on Shack side are really shallow, and by that I mean they're not that close to Shack. Like they are, like look how cold. This one here is the second furthest to Shack, and it's in the middle tiles. So you've almost got like a 1-2-4 split. It's crazy. Anyways, yeah. Oh, that's a really nice Shack window though, facing into the map. Lots of interesting little things you look at when you're, when you're familiar with comp, when you're familiar with 1v1 situations. So, this is a pretty. You need a strong result, but a doable result. 4K1 is not 4K1 for a win is not asking the impossible. I like that. That was really nice, man. Vamp has got really good, crisp killer mechanics. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We hear they were doubling up on this gen here, so there's a lot of progress, but we are going to see our Vami Mami hit our first survivors with that yucky green goo. And we are already in chase. Oh my god, all of the comp viewers are going to hate that I said yucky green goo. I can just hear the hate coming. I'm trying to be fun.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. We have a very different build, by the way, where we had a little bit of the stealth going on. We have Thanatophobia this time, which is really interesting. It's going to make the survivors instantly have to start strategizing. Okay, someone has to stay healthy. Every stack is 2% slower repair, fine. But that fourth is a total of 20%. And you do not want that. That will really, really hamper the survivor's ability to get these gens done. So basically, we're looking at communicating right now. Boofy and Meds are not infected, and one of them needs to stay that way.
Yeah, absolutely. We need Vamp to get on a survivor here a little bit. We got to start getting something done. Although, if they finish those 2 gens over on the other half, the survivors will have put themselves in a really tough position. So I guess not worried too much and opting to patrol down on this end where they do really need to protect that gen that they've been getting so much progress on. Opting to chase the ace here around this tile. Nope, gonna be going right back because they know that they want to get this generator done. So and it is so close.
The survivor, like I don't, there wasn't a whole ton left, but that stun was huge because we were in, we had used one of our 3 powers, which a gen down by the other end of it dropped. Boofy jumps right back on that. You can see Boofy jumped on that generator because they got infected. So that regression has ended. I think Vamp noticed and came back. Yeah. Yeah. So that pallet stun took Vamp out of their power. Which is a pretty big deal. I don't think that Vamp expected to see the ace through that pallet after the Claudette ran away. Okay, yeah. This is spicy. This is the uninfected survivor. The survivor, if we get the hit here, which good duck. If we get the puke here, which we're preventing, we're gonna have to. There we go. What? I hate plague. I hate plague. Don't scream if you didn't actually get hit. Anyway,
oh my god, you're right.
It didn't get infected.
so awful.
It's so annoying. Sorry. I used to love Plague, but one of the most annoying killers to play. Anyways, everybody is injured or on their way to... No, everybody's injured now. 20% less gen progress all around. That could be big. Now, but on the other side, the survivors have 2 gens done, and we have yet to see our first down, and it's becoming a problem.
I was going to say, we are kind of playing a really, really slow early game here with Plague to try and keep that 1 gen up.
Cleanse. See, Thanatophobia has created a situation where if you can get this hit here, gets a hit! Okay, that's super unfortunate for the survivors. Thanatophobia has put the survivors in a situation where in the last game, we starved out the power. We didn't have any power after the first 3 were used. There's someone right here. Yeah, they know. Okay, but now you can't do that. Okay, 1 gen does pop. If this other gen pops on the left, this is going to be a blowout.
Oh my God.
We're in trouble.
No shot.
We're in trouble.
Oh.
I like the Thanat pick, but it's looking like it might not matter in the end.
Yeah. Vamp also just spent so much time defending this 1 gen that survivors eventually just said, you know what? You want to defend this 1 gen? Go for it. But we're going to make you pay because we're going to pop 4 others. And now we are in big trouble. I don't know how you come back from this. Survivors played this beautifully. Despite having, in some points, seemingly all the pressure in the world, Vamp just not able to make it happen here.
There was too much setup. There was too much, like you said, like we were trying to get everybody injured, trying to get Thanatophobia, and it worked. But unfortunately, we needed a down in the middle. We needed to see, get an injury, down somebody, hook them, go back to getting injuries or getting infections and stuff like that. We needed to have the lack of a down, just let the survivors play at their own pace, and it's really paid off. Now, it's not over yet. Like, quick down, we got power. Do we slug and we keep going for more? Like, it's not over yet, but it is very dire for our looking very dire for our killer here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I kind of think you have to try and commit to the slug. Like, you've got to get some amount of pressure back. These survivors are just running amok, frankly. And I would be worried about the other generators down on the other half of the map a little bit.
Yeah, well, the unhook came in down that side, so 2 survivors are down there. If that had hit, oh my goodness, that was very close. Again, Vamp is just a really solid mechanical killer.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Plague is just a nightmare. I'm
so
sorry.
Unfortunate.
That was like if it was so I don't know how common this is for everybody to know this. The Plague doesn't actually shoot a stream. The Plague shoots multiple little droplets that are like their own projectiles. So where that spread looked like it should have hit our Lara, in reality, Lara split the difference between two droplets. You can't see it, you can't plan for it, you just gotta kind of do your best. By the way, we bugged out the killer here. The killer is not face camping right now. The killer is invisible on our screen. Sorry about the bug out there. But yeah, that's why Plague can be so frustrating to play. That and the ridiculousness where the survivor will get they're in chase. You just can't see the killer.
That's horrible, actually.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Actually, behavior. Can we please fix that? Because that's a big problem.
As soon as the killer does something like break a pallet, now the killer's back. By the way, the survivor saw the killer. Just so everybody knows, that was not that. No. We were only invisible for us, but that is a really bad, consistently. That has been around forever. That spectator bug. Survivors get the last gen done while we're yapping about that, and it's looking like we're gonna get outs here. So,
yeah. This was a really rough match. I think Vamp was trying to play pretty patient at the beginning to set themselves up for a really strong end game. Jeez, Jake just running like crazy here.
Check spots 10 out of 10, like insanely strong checkpoints. Also, that was amazing.
Oh,
Jake didn't know that pallet was there. Jake was like, oh, I got to get the shack. I don't know if I'm going to... Wait, there's a pallet. Let's go. So I appreciate that. Great chase by Jake. Amazing check spots. If you guys want to learn how to do check spots, watch this back and watch everything Jake just did on all of those tiles, particularly that pallet gym. fantastic. Playing the short side of the pallet gym, but watching the check spots and won every single quote unquote 50-50 because they had the knowledge, they had the information they needed to make it work. Watch that. That was a clinic on how to use check spots. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. This breaks my heart a little. I love Vicinal. They're one of my favorite teams to watch, but Hysteric just handily dominated these 2 games. I mean, we did see Vicinal do a great job on Survivor here on Suffo and set themselves up for a bit more success than on that Hawkins matchup, but my God, Hysteric just played out of their minds. The planning and communication between them, just 10 out of 10. We are going to see...
You're going to die. Whoa! Maybe not. No, not enough. Okay. I was like, Boofy, you're dead. But no, not quite enough puke. Yeah, fair. I think, are we trying to make time? No, they're both there, all there. Okay.